Hey there, everyone. It's Daniel from GMZ. I am here with my good friend.
Oh, me. Hello, we're friends.
Oh,
This is Pierre, also from GMZ.
and this is like an audio guide for our last post, which is a compilation of things that was we think our greatest hits. Really, supposedly better than the Eagles' greatest hits, from what I hear.
Uh,
Um,
don't even start.
and also some things that we didn't get to do. So
Yep,
it's like a mix of like our greatest hits and our unreleased recordings,
that's right.
except for this recording, which will be released.
The complete B-sides,
Yeah. I thought a B side had to be released to be a B side.
I suppose. The garage sessions that were never released.
Yeah, Nirvana style.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to start this? Do you want to do it like we each do all of ours, or we alternate?
Um, we could alternate. I mean, doing all of ours. Like I said, my list is super long. Um, so I'm clearly not going to do all of them.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if I'll pick a couple that I wrote down that I liked a couple, at least two of the stories in them.
All right.
Yep,
Well then, I guess I will start.
sure.
Um, I think one of my favorite issues is, I guess it was GMZ 13, where we had the unbiased journalism and the nuzlocking. The unbiased journalism cracked me up because I loved it. I had noticed that story before and I hadn't really paid attention to it, but when I went back and read it because of this, because of the unbiased journal, the thing that that Nexus 7 story that you based it off of.
Yeah, the bunch of journalists in the UK got a free Nexus 7 tablet for going to a Ubisoft Watch Dogs preview event.
Right, which is definitely unethical.
I guess, yeah.
And I went back and I read that and I was like, is it kind of sad that I I am less like if somebody went and got an old portable phone and like it's sad sometimes when GMZ's like exaggeration of things is more understandable.
Than reality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it got to be for certain points of the series where I just felt like maybe we are not satire. Maybe they are satire of us.
Ah, if only.
But
It'd be a little less depressing.
yeah, but that I just thought that cracked me up because it was all these like because you're talking about like getting a pager and you got and it
Giving
was
Shaq Fu
yeah
a
you give a Shaq
9.7
a nine
had
point
no
seven.
influence. Yeah.
Oh, that was just so funny to me because it was like this is stuff that's just happens all the time and on a much grander scale. Like I guess it was Greg Miller gave Uncharted 3 like a perfect 10
Hmm.
and the average score was like a 7.
Maybe he just really liked it. Or,
Yeah, or I
yeah,
I would say he really likes it, but he works for IGN and I just
yeah.
those guys weird me out. Also, I met him though, but he's a nice guy.
Your Nuzlocking article probably has the most risque image ever posted to One More Castle
That's why I put it down.
because that's barely censored.
I cannot believe that Eric allowed me to put a picture of a naked woman in our post. I was seriously so ready to just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna put this up there, and then maybe it'll be like a bartering thing where I'll be like,
Yeah,
well, this is better than the last thing I put up, so you can totally do that, right? And he was just like, yeah, sure.
yeah. You ask for more than you really want, and somehow you figure you'll compromise in between the two extremes. But he just went for your extreme.
Which, it's like somebody actually when I was recently somewhere at a con they brought that up to me. Like, they pulled that post. Like, I didn't even know people I knew read GMZ, first off.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, they pulled out that post out of all of them. And I was like, that's such a bad representation of myself.
Is it, though?
Okay, well, I generally have better social standards than that. But
I remember when I started seeing Nuzlocking, I had no idea what it was, because I played one Pokemon game ever and I hated it.
I didn't either. I
had no idea what a Nuzlocke was until I had to Google it. I think it was Pro Jared was
that's how I found out about it too, is because he's on my Twitter stream or whatever, so I'd constantly see him be like, new Nuzlocking video, and I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And just the way people say that, like, new Nuzlocking video, that sounds like it's an innuendo.
Yeah. The kids these days, and they're Nuzlocking.
Oh, and that's what it was that was so funny, was I wrote it immediately after Sean Hannity was talking about spring break on Fox. And he was like, kids these days are drinking and doing drugs on spring break. And it's like, yeah, they've been doing that for 20 years. It's just like way over exaggerated. Like he's like, there's not a single person in Panama City who isn't high right now. And I was like, okay. It was just such an over exaggeration.
Yeah.
And I just thought they'd be like, what's next? People having sex with Pokemon. That seems like the next fair step from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, GMZ 13 was fantastic. I don't want to talk about the middle article because it sucked.
What was it? I don't even remember. I closed it.
It was Ryden taking over for Stephen Colbert.
Oh, that. It didn't suck. It just wasn't as good as the others.
Yeah, it was kind of a filler article. I wasn't too happy with it.
Yeah, I got some of those once in a while. I gotta go with this one. I have had a lot of like individual favorite stories, but one of the posts that had a couple I really liked was an early one. It was from GMZ3. Is early on, the way you and I used to write when we started is that we'd not exactly collaborate more, but we were much more organized. We'd finish stories ahead of time and then send them to each other. So oftentimes I'd have these stories and I'm just like, and then I'd send them to you, and you would add like one line. For me would be like, oh my god, you just turned this like terrible article into gold with just this one throwaway line. And I don't remember if I wrote this one or not, but I think I did. It was the Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees announced a new game. Yeah. So, it's going to be a game where you can play as both of them, and you're just running around killing teenagers and stuff. But you added the part where they have this press conference, and I'm saying like you're going to be able to use a plethora of weapons from other horror films as well, like curling irons from Sleepaway Camp and pencils, The Faculty, bazookas, flamethrowers. And you added the part where you wrote, Mr. Voorhees grunted loudly while nodding politely, and I just lost it. I was like, I was picturing it in my head, and it just cracked me up. And going through it again, I totally forgot. But like, I think like I wrote that entire thing except for that line, and to me that was the line that made the article worth posting.
I agree with you in that I wish we had collaborated more, but we all just got so busy. But we used to send each other our stories, and there used to be things that would come out of it. Like I remember there was a story that you wanted to throw away. I think it was the Michelangelo one, which I think we'll get to later. But like that story was just, to me, so funny. Like it was on another level.
Did I write it? I thought you did.
No, you wrote it because your wife did the Photoshop for it.
That's right.
Because I remember you sent it to me and you're like, I don't know, I don't think it's that funny, and I thought it was possibly the funniest thing ever written.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was I don't remember even giving you that line. It's possible.
Yeah, you did. I remember that distinctly. In that post as well, there was Toxie's plastic surgery disaster, which is
Which
a reference to the dead Kennedys. But I just wanted to use. I'd seen the image of Toxie, and I'd seen that image of Steve Buscemi. Like, I just happened to see them within a few days of each other. I was like, I have to invent a story so that I can use those two images.
Yeah, I did not know what Toxie was before
Really?
that post.
I
Yeah,
remember the cartoon. I've never
because
seen the movies.
I didn't know what Toxie was, and then I think you linked it to me, like what it was, like a trailer or something for that movie, or
Hmm.
somebody did, because I remember I saw it and I was like, oh, that's what this is.
Yep.
Yeah,
I saw those two images. It's a little bit like how what I did with Atari Poop is that I would normally not know what to do, and then I would find like a terrible looking image or like a weird pop culture reference, whether it was Tony Danza or something ridiculous like that, and I'd be like, okay, what game can I fit to this image? And I was like, yeah, Toxie's gonna get plastic surgery so he can become an actor, and the after picture is Steve Buscemi. I was like, there's no way someone who looks like this could ever be a successful actor.
only recently did I realize that picture was Steve Buscemi. I did not. When I first saw it, I thought it was just some picture you'd grabbed off Google Images.
No.
I was like, and then I went back out for this like compilation, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's the guy from Boardwalk Empire.
I love him as an actor.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He's great. So I wasn't. He's a weird looking dude. He's a great actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's sexy in his own way.
He, sure.
Okay, so my turn.
Sure.
Okay, there's one that I think might be our finest work, and it is not at all like the rest of our posts, and that was our GMZ the future, and it was our crowdfunding one.
That was on my list too.
The crowdfucker. Oh my god, that was I don't know. I was
Forgotten we threw in there.
yeah, and it was like let me read this whole thing. There because it was you made like an image that was supposed to be a picture of the page.
Yeah,
Like,
because quote unquote the site had crashed, so we posted a screen cap.
yeah. And it was and based on which is what reminded me of this one. You said the GMZ comic will be in color, and there you haven't issued the GMZ comic at the bottom. And
Yep.
you're talking about your formula for Atari Poop, and at the end of the GMZ comic, you have the formula for GMZ, which was actually what I used to do. I would pick, like, old video game character plus some horrible thing, and then that was the article.
That was also my GMZ formula.
Yeah.
And it was making fun of us in a way, like old game character plus drugs, dicks, or dildos equals GMZ article.
Yeah.
Win.
And then, what are these other stretches? GMZ Heimer, I guess? GMZ Heimers?
GMZimers.
GMZimers?
Yeah, for seniors, because it's
'cause
Alzheimer's. So
Alzheimer's.
it's GMZimers.
I don't even think I got the joke on that one last time.
Because it was aimed at seniors.
Yeah. And then the Breakaway Republic
Republic.
bought and founded. Oh my god. That just cracked me up so much.
We were gonna buy the New York Yankees as well and change their name to the New York Wankies.
Also, I liked it. All the bit at the top is written in Comic Sans.
Yeah. Wait, what bit? The GMZ. Yeah, that was intentional.
Yeah.
Did you like my crowdfucker logo? I worked hard on that.
Yeah.
Did you notice that the K is two people fucking?
Yeah, no, I got it.
All right.
I don't remember. I think you came up with that name.
Yeah. I don't know. People were complaining about, crowdfunders and they're just fucking over people and stealing their money or whatever. And I don't know when, but just the phrase crowdfucker popped into my head. Someone may have tweeted it at me, but I don't remember.
I think that was about the same time that Double Fine was doing their third Kickstarter or something.
Yeah, it was.
and people were really pissed off about it. And we were like, this is the perfect time.
You look at the pledge rewards. Receive a commemorative GMZ butt plug, probably never used.
Get your name etched into an intern's kidneys.
Punch a dolphin. We will find a dolphin, fly it to you, and allow you to punch it once.
An entire issue of GMZ will target enemies of your choosing.
Yeah. I remember Aggro Sky. Every time I saw his name, that's always why I saw it. I was like, he's angry at the sky. Like, what a weird thing to have named your use as your Twitter alias.
Yeah.
He left a comment like, I don't know what he was using it for or referencing it to, but he said he'd never thought about his handle meaning that. I was like, it's Aggro Sky. Like, what else could it be?
It's this guy's angry at you?
No, he wasn't. He just didn't see his username as meaning
No.
that.
That's what I'm saying. His username means this guy is angry at you.
Is it?
Aggro Sky? Would it not be an
I guess.
adjective?
I suppose.
I don't know. And then the video was super fun for that issue.
Yeah, it sure was. It was fucking cold.
Yeah, I was seriously like cringing when you sent me that. I was like, oh my god, how is he? His nipples are gonna freeze.
It was. Yeah, I had no idea what I was gonna do. I just went into my backyard in the middle of the snowstorm, and we got like a couple feet of snow, and I was like, I record, and like that's not my first take.
Yeah, you did it
Like,
twice.
I think I did it a couple more times that I didn't send to you. Like I started,
Oh.
and I stumbled on my words. So I was like, I started over again, and then snow was like all over the lens, so I had to get rid of that. Like, no, it was brutal. Good times though. Yeah, it was near the end where I was like, I should take my jacket off and mention that since it's practically summer in Canada.
And I think you added the bit about it being crushed by moose, which I just thought was hysterical.
Yeah, I had to explain why I was outside.
Yeah.
GMZ.
Yeah, the GMZ Canadian offices were destroyed by moose.
They were rampaging after the local hockey team lost. Referencing the Vancouver riots.
Yeah, the Vancouver riots. Everybody knows the only team worth cheering for is the Winnipeg Jets.
And Quebec Nordiques, if once they get their team back. That's going to be my team. It's closer than Montreal, and it'll be way cheaper to get tickets. It's actually cheaper for people where I live to go to Boston to see a game than Montreal.
Wait, what's Montreal's team?
Canadians.
Is that really it?
Yeah, Canadians with an E, though, like Canadien.
Oh, that's stupid.
Don't let Big Joe hear you say that.
He's stupid. Speaking of which, I'd like to point out that there's always the argument of who is the fifth Beatle, and I think that if there had to be a third GMZ person, it would be Big Joe.
Oh my god. There were people who thought like that we actually hired him and then fired him during that whole joke bit. That was one of I guess we can move on to that in a weird way. I think number 7 was where we had was the one where we fired him, and I think it was on my list of the ones that we had that I liked. We had Donatello's New Horizons, which I think you wrote.
Yes.
Then you had the whole Wolf of Wall Street game, released by, I think it was it PopCap and published by EA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that one. The game consisting of 3 mini games: Quaalude, Cruising, Snort the Line, and Pussy Parade.
I think that the funniest part about that was when I went to Pensacon, I made a reference to that game to this guy, and I was like, "Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street game's coming out. Would you play it?" And he goes, "What's it about?" And I was like, "Well, you have to snort cocaine off a hooker's ass crack." And he's like, "Yeah, I'd do that." And just this blank stare, and I was like, "Oh, okay, man. I'll see you later."
That post also had one of the articles from that lengthy Link storyline
Yeah.
that I had, And all of that essentially for me was just so that I could build up to the end, which is basically the end. It wasn't in this one, but the end was essentially that Link got a restraining order that he couldn't be within, I was like 10 Hyrulean miles or something of any woman.
Yeah.
And one of our reporter asked him, if he thinks this is going to adversely affect his career, and he says, not really. There were barely any women in most of my games anyway, especially the early ones.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I wrote all of that.
And with the exception of Adventure of Link, there's lots of women in that.
Yeah, there is. The townspeople.
Yeah, but no,
ones that invite you to their houses and somehow replenish your energy.
I wonder
if that's where Grand Theft Auto got the idea from.
I thought the best part of that was that before we had the Daisy and Kanye thing, was that Link essentially did become the video game version of Kanye.
Yeah.
Like he wrote a rap album about the whole thing, and I was just like, this is too realistic on a very strange level.
Yep. We had the and yeah, the other thing was with Big Joe is we'll be getting to the list of ideas we never used, but I remember when we were making that document.
The spikes thing.
I just wrote something about spikes. I don't know. They're like in every game. I'm tired. More later. Like I'd written a bunch of ideas in the document we shared, and then I just put that one at the end as a joke. And then later on, we did the whole let's hire someone as a joke thing just to fire him. And then I was like, this would be brilliant. I can have Big Joe write that whole spikes thing. Like it's a real thing, and that'll be the reason why we fire him. It just says Spikes by Big Joe. Something about spikes. I don't know. They're like in every game. I'm tired. More later, and there's an image of spikes.
I like that is like the worst resized image of spikes. It just looks disgusting.
Yeah.
No, because I remember I want to say it came about because I asked you why that was on the document.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what did you ever have a story, or were you just ranting?
No. This is just nonsense I wrote for no reason whatsoever that miraculously we found a use for much later.
Yeah. Big Joe was a great guy for playing along with how many times we shit on him.
Yeah, because we had, I think, Tom Hall wanted to be like the guy that joined, but I didn't know Tom that well at the time.
Yeah.
And considering the amount of abuse that we were planning to throw towards the person's way, we both known Big Joe Jonathan since Screw Attack.
Yeah.
Like we'd known him for years, so we knew that, he would more than likely be cool. So sent him an email explaining a little bit what we were planning, and he's like, yeah, sure, cool. I can be your whipping boy, your patsy.
And he played into it too. Like like up until probably like a month ago, he was still like talking he was trashing GMZ every chance he got because we treated him so horribly.
I totally forgot. We could have gotten him in on a bit of this because he kept telling me, it's like, man, I should finally write those stories for those ideas I have for more GMZ stories. And he never got around to it.
No,
Jonathan, do it in the comments.
Yeah, just start writing your own articles in the comments. We'll start a spin-off series, GMZ: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
No, and it's really funny though that you say that. Like, neither of us knew Tom very well, and it's really odd to see now that he's done writing about video games because he's just sick of the abuse, which is exactly what we were going to do to him.
Yeah.
Like we were just gonna abuse him. So I guess I'm really glad that we picked Joe in the end because
we may hasten his exit.
Yeah. Also, I don't care about Big Joe at all.
No, he's a piece of shit. He's a Quebecer.
Yeah, it's Quebecian.
Yeah.
Is that the word, Quebecian?
Quebecois. Or Quebecer.
Quebecois. Okay. All right. I'm gonna try and segue that into something. I'm not doing a good job of it. I think. What issue was that?
What?
The one we just talked about.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like really far back. How many? We've done so many issues.
I know. I think it's like 39 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there's the numbered ones, but then there's like the future, and then breaking news. There was a Nintendo Fusion one.
Yeah.
I think the Happy New Year's post, the job posting. Bailey, Eric
Yeah.
had written a post once as well.
I honestly think that, speaking of Bailey, I like how sometimes whenever we were late on a post, it was totally our fault. He would chime in at the beginning. It was like an editor's note about why it wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
Like, I remember on number 10, he says, typically GMZ posts on Mondays. And then he was like, but it's entirely my fault. And seriously, you have no idea what a worthless, stupid, soul-sucking exercise it is, spending all afternoon hunting down a dumb cat, when he was referring to Jonathan.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, I love Bailey. He's a great guy.
Yep.
But no, GMZ number 10 is one of my favorites because that was the one with the Asian shadow thing.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if you all know this, but anything in GMZ that is even slightly confrontational is probably written by Pierre. Because there was a while there where, like, every single week, it was like some new controversy was coming out, and you would just rail on it. Like, my stuff's always really kind of dumb, and it's like, oh, yeah, somebody...
Hey. I did have Qbert with the nose dildos.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, that
Oh,
was,
I
like,
know.
that was, like, everything I wrote. But then, like, you would always, like, see, like, oh, Ben Kuchera said something that is, like, really, really stupid. I'm going to destroy him. And that's when I learned that watching you get angry is hysterical.
See, but I wasn't even really angry. I never even saw it as like I'm attacking Ben Kuchera. It was just like he said something stupid, unfortunate, something I easily could have tweeted myself. But how can I take this and make something ridiculous out of it?
Yeah.
And I wrote about how I didn't even know Asians had shadows.
Yeah, but it's like, this thing is like, I know that you probably don't hate Ben Kuchera,
I don't.
but it's like, if you did, that would have been such a good attack. Like, it was impressive. That was Colbertian standards of Horatian satire. It was fantastic.
Do you know what was the toughest part about writing that story?
What?
Finding actual pictures of like of Asian developers where you can see it, where they cast the shadow, because like they're getting photographed by professional photographers with lights and flashes and everything. It was ridiculously hard to find pictures of any of them with the visible shadow. Which was really weird when you're writing a story about like, oh my God, Asians have shadows? When did they develop the technology? And you can't find pictures of them with shadows.
Yeah, I love when you say, we don't know how far this technology has come.
I loved, what was it? Big Joe in a comment. Oh, thank God for this article. Last week I was standing behind this tall Asian guy and I thought he had destroyed the sun.
No. Okay, I'd have to ask you though, what is the author joke behind that one? Because generally we have some sort of joke in the authors.
Yeah.
Do you know what B.E. got is? Like what?
Bigot. It's just bigot.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, begot, like, was somebody...
What did he beget?
Well, that's because you have weird pronunciations.
Well, no, I wasn't B-E got.
Big.
Anyway.
Okay, well...
They don't always work perfectly.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't know if everybody noticed, but yeah, every single one of our authors is either a pun or a joke or a reference to an actual person or something.
Yeah. almost everyone at least. I think that there
Yeah,
were a couple.
some were pretty obvious. Like I think early on, like I used April O'Neil. Like I tried to use people who appeared in video games that
Yeah.
were journalists or reporters. So
All right. Well, yeah. And then the other two articles in that
Flow
one.
Red,
I,
K Knuckles, rap alter ego, I guess.
that one was just I don't know. I wasn't. I had never liked my own articles.
I think we're both that way. We prefer the other person's work, and we think our own work is crap.
I do like the pun execution.
Yeah, Civil War featuring Yoshi.
Which was funny because then you did almost the same thing with Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, Echo and Shamu, which was essentially Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess we can. You started, right?
Yeah,
So it's my turn.
I think so.
Which post was that?
That was
Number
10.
19. No, yours was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can segue to number 19. Um, where is it? It's the one where I had that
Oh, the Shamu.
Shamu versus Echo the Dolphin thing. There's another one on my list of because it had the Katamari child abuse thing, and it had what was the other one? Burnout World Tour, um, which I thought was okay until the last line. It was what was it? Was it EA was going to add an unlockable car, the Princess Diana Mercedes-Benz
Yeah.
240 for Burnout World Tour. After you could unlock it or whatever, it's just a throwaway line at the end of the article. You just wrote Princess Diana was unavailable for comment. That was like the worst thing. So hilarious.
I thought that was worse about that was when that game on the cover got a good review from Prince Charles.
What? Oh, yes.
Yeah, because they have all those weird conspiracy
Game of the
theories.
Year, Prince
Yeah.
Charles.
They have all those crazy conspiracy theories about how like the royal family plotted to kill her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I thought that, and yeah, the Princess Diana was unavailable for comment. I just decided to break the boundaries of good taste on that one.
That's something that a few people have told me we did a good job of finding where the line we shouldn't cross was, and then like leaping over it.
There was one that was pushing the boundaries. Somebody made a post about it was a comment. It was like pushing the boundaries of good taste. I think it was Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like we didn't ever push, we just broke it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it had the do you remember the feud that nearly tore gaming apart? And I still remember I don't know what I was watching, or for some random reason some like rap song titles popped into my head,
Yeah.
and again that was a case of like, ain't nothing but a C thing, fuck with Edo and Sega ain't shit. It was just a case of like, what can I do to turn this into a story for GMZ? Drive-by, boat-by shootings, just the making up rap names. So MC Kid Icarus, DJ Jazzy Joe and Mac, Buck Bumble 65, Dr. MC Light, NBA Jam Master J,
That one really cracks me up.
Easy E Tank,
Oh,
Wiz and Liz Khalifa, Kid Chameleonaire. Like once I thought up of those, I was like, this has to be an article somehow. So I don't know, East versus West Coast rap battle,
yeah.
Tupac, and I needed some. I tried to think of like a fat rap, not a fat video game character that I could use for Biggie, I actually think I even got confused in the article itself because when I wrote Echo, arrows were like notorious ECCO, but I also wrote that Echo was on the East Coast, I think, or I forget. Anyway, I got confused with East Coast and West Coast and which one Shamu and Echo were representing.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, whatever. Nobody reads
Yep.
our articles anyway. It doesn't matter.
Nope.
Um, speaking of hip hop, Kanye and Daisy and GMZ number 12, I think is the best example of my Photoshop skills. I don't even remember how I did these pictures.
Oh, that's yeah. They were very well done.
Yeah, and it was like because I remember at one point, and well, the second one's not that great, but uh, I remember at one point we talked about having more galleries, like photo galleries, because I
Yeah.
think that it was supposed to mirror like the tabloid things where it's like 10 pictures of this celebrity couple or whatever, and there's like not really a story to it. It's just
No,
pictures
like
of
it's
them.
three lines and a bunch of pictures.
Yeah,
Like Kanye and Daisy were seen, at a restaurant and canoodling or some stupid word like that, and then you have pictures of them. That's it.
yeah, and it was because I mean that's like if you read like real tabloids, which I unfortunately did.
Research.
Yeah, no, really, it was like I was
Yeah.
like I want to know how to do this, so I stopped at the grocery store and I started reading it, and it really was like it's like 2 or 3 lines to introduce story, pictures, and then maybe like 2 or 3 lines of like inconsequential things.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm just gonna do that. So, and these were really fun to make. I wish I had done more stuff like that. Also in that issue was the Tamagotchi Life video. Uh, I
Your your video editing skills really impressed me with this one. Like
I,
I nearly cried watching this again.
I think the funny part was that you were like you'd sent me a message that was like, hey, just take this video and put weird stuff on it, and I was like, what do you mean? And then you just sent me links to videos that you wanted me to put over this.
The dog doing the other dog and then puking. Yeah, just like random, the most random stuff I could think of, and yeah, you
Yeah.
totally put it in there.
I think the best part is there's like a half-second clip of like 2 guys, and one's like doing like some sort of jig. I need to find it.
Was it the one for the let's put the fork in the garbage disposal there?
No, it's not that one.
How to yes?
It might have been How to Yes. It's like
If I
hold
hit
on.
play, I was
I'm
gonna say if I hit play, is it gonna?
It's right around. It's right before the baby face on the 2 naked guys, and then right after the dog.
Right after the dog? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it's an old Czech song that was on TV,
Yeah,
like
I
Joshin or something like that.
I don't know what cracks me up about that clip because it's only like 2 seconds, but that little bit just cracks me up so much.
I actually love that song.
And then yeah, and then let's put the fork in the garbage disposals in there. Um, your instructions exactly were cover up any game footage,
Yes, with the nonsense.
which of course is just because I love that because there's like a half-second in there where this girl's like looking at her phone smiling, and then you go back and it's the video of that like sexual performance art.
Yeah, the one whipping the rod against the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought that one was really funny, just how that worked out.
yeah,
That video was really funny, and then your article to go with it was just brilliant.
yeah. We had some fun.
And also that top one where I was arrested for doing cocaine and being naked in public.
Hmm.
Uh
Was that around the time of the Coney thing?
no, Was it?
Do you remember that guy there, the Stoff
Oh
Coney or
yeah,
Coney 2014
that's right.
thing? And
That's
then
what
they
it
found
was.
him like jerking off in the street somewhere.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, because I thought you meant the actual movie. Yeah, that was
No,
the
no.
same time, and it was
Yeah.
funny because that's the only article with like a picture of me and with this is before the interview that you did with me, but with a picture of me and with my name on it. So if you Google Daniel Lamplugh, that's one of the first things that comes up. And my teacher,
This will haunt you forever.
oh no, it already did. My teacher Googled my name in class one time because it was for some project. I don't even remember. She was trying to find a picture of me for some publication thing I think the school was doing. But so she Googled my name, and that was the first thing that came up. And so she opened it, and our computer has like a projector on the wall. So she opened it, and immediately all of my classmates are reading this.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
And so I'm really lucky. I guess I didn't go to the counselor or something.
Yeah.
No, that was actually a really fun. I love my picture in that.
No segue.
Okay.
Number 10 from Volume 2.
Oh yeah.
You've got is it the first one? It's part of your
I think it is the first one.
Pac-Man series.
I want to say that is the first one.
Anyway, which I totally loved. And I wish we would have done, more of like this weird, like not quite investigative journalism, but like tracking down, like where are they now, and writing this lengthy kind of like.
No, wait,
mini-
sorry. 10's the last part. Sorry, continue.
Okay, but yeah, this like what these characters like treating them as if they were actors who kind of like weren't A-list actors anymore. What had they done in between the years? The subsequent years between their last hit movie or
Right.
hit video game or whatever.
And the thing about that one is that I wrote that fairly recently. I mean, that was earlier this year.
Mhm.
And at the time, I was reading biographies a lot, and I still am at this point. But like, I was reading at that point like a biography on Frank Capra, the filmmaker,
Mhm.
and about like I think like Jimmy Stewart and Frank Sinatra. And so I was reading all these biographies, and it's like I want to know like what happens if something is written in this style for somebody who isn't real, because then you have like total creative agency with them.
Yep.
And then that combined two of the ideas that we'd had on our list forever, which was Pac-Man being addicted to drugs and Pac-Man being a cross-dresser.
Mhm.
So I was trying to find a way to incorporate those two ideas before GMZ ended, because I really like those ideas. So I wanted to use those somewhere, and I think that was the best way to do it.
There's a story in there that I wrote, the one right after it, the WWE Extreme Realism. And while you were talking, I had to Google what the hell Corb Ransel was, and it's just Brock Lesnar backwards without the K. I couldn't remember like what the hell that was. This was one I'm surprised that we didn't get any comments from like wrestling fans like Tom Hall or I don't know who is or isn't a wrestling fan, because like I don't like wrestling. They're incredible athletes and everything, but like I really don't like wrestling. But like this is a game I would play.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine like the thing I wrote is like wrestling isn't a sport. It shouldn't be turned into a fighting game. It's not about the fight. It's the choreography, the story, the characters. It's not a sport. It's an art form. And as much as I don't like wrestling, I kind of really do feel that way. And I was like, could you imagine a wrestling game where like you have to follow quick time events and to do all the right moves?
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, you could kill your opponent, which is true.
Yeah.
In real wrestling, and that would have consequences on your career. Kind of like Persona 4, where you have these social links well, you could have like negative and positive ones within the other wrestlers, and it was just an article where I was like describing a kind of game that I don't like and how it could be a kind of game that I do like, and it was just an excuse for me to do this like weird thought experiment kind of thing with wrestling.
And it's funny that you mentioned the accidentally killing your opponent, because that was around the same time. That was the same time Rey Mysterio ended up killing that guy.
It must have. It was. I vaguely remember that. I didn't write this because of that.
No, you know what's really crazy though?
But
That was the same day.
what?
So we'd had that article written, and then he died afterward.
That's kind of fucked up. I
Yeah,
wonder if I've killed anyone else with my articles.
I don't know. I want to say it was the same day. I'm gonna look this up.
I should have written more about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The
I'm trying to find this. It's I can't find a date for it. All the articles say they're from like March 24th.
Yeah, and this was in March.
Yeah, well, okay, it was March 21st, it looks like, was when he actually killed him.
Yeah.
And then we would have already had the article done because it was March 23rd.
True.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, because it got posted at the very latest. I would have started
Yeah.
because it's a later issue, and as Bailey definitely knows, but no one else does, is our deadline is essentially 48 hours before it goes up.
Right.
But this past year, like, we were finishing. I was finishing adding the images like an hour or two before it would go up. Poor
Yeah.
Bailey.
Yeah, for real. And and I remember at one point when he said he was closing the site, I immediately thought, if it's probably our fault. Like, we really put Bailey through the ringer.
We did.
Like, I'd tweet him and be like, hey, I forgot to do something. Can you fix our post because I can't get to it? And he'd be like, yeah, just give me like a couple of hours. I'll do it later.
Really? Because a lot of the times he'd do it right away.
Yeah, well, no, because I always tweet him at like the inopportune times. He'd be like
Yeah.
at work, and I'd be like, hey, I just want to let you know so you don't forget.
Yeah. The last article in that one was Tom DeLonge announcing that he was going to release 457 video games.
Tom DeLonge is such
Making fun of the fact, yeah.
Yeah, it's so brilliant.
He's going to release 4 albums this year and publish 15 novels. It's like, as soon as I saw that, and what's he going to do next? Release, oh my god, I have to write this. He's going to release a ton of video games.
I remember after this article was posted, there was a kid in my class who loves Blink-182, and he really has no right to, because he's like a freshman.
Yeah.
So he's like really young. And I remember I mentioned to him about the article, or the original thing about Tom DeLonge doing 4 albums, and he's like, man, I hate Tom DeLonge. Fuck that guy.
Wow. Harsh.
Yeah. But
Yeah, well, the other 2 guys kind of really threw him under the bus. And then, like, a few weeks later, I read an article where he was like, they told me I had to be in the band 100% and couldn't work on anything else on the side. And I already had, like, these book deals, like, done. I couldn't just, like, not do them anymore. It's something I really wanted to do. And, like, what's this bullshit of, like, I can't do side projects, but they can, so fuck it. I quit. They kicked me out. Who cares?
and
I'm releasing four albums and 15 books.
he's quit Blink-182 like 3 times.
Well, like I wrote, he's got the face of a guy who might enjoy eating the faces of babies. He's got this weird look. Yeah.
I don't know how to segue out of that one.
Me neither. But we've been talking about our favorite posts for a while. You want to switch to the ideas we never got to?
I'd like to mention one more post if that's okay.
Sure, go for it.
I think my favorite video that I did was the Mobicon one. Simply because if you go and watch it, about half of the interviews are not from me. They're from my friend Chris, who we credited as Salad Man in that video. He is so much better at like turn of phrase than me. Like, there's a point in that video where he says, like, do you think people at Mobicon are more lonely than other people? And this girl says, well, who am I to judge? And just immediately he goes, you're right. Who are you to judge?
Like, who the hell are you to judge?
Yeah, and he like just all of a sudden signaling like, this is the lonely girl I've been looking for. She is the person I'm talking about. And I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
And that guy is ballsy too. Like he'll interview anybody, say anything. He takes no prisoners. And I just wanted to shout out to him before I ended that because he's hysterical.
Is that the one? No, it was Pensacon where we literally got press passes.
Yeah. Oh no, I got it from Robicon too. But yeah, Pensacon as well.
It still blows my mind that they asked for like evidence of our work or whatnot, and they saw our GMZ posts and were like, yeah, we'll give these guys press passes.
And the funniest part is, I'm not sure if I ever conveyed to you the full story. So I tried to get them again this past year, this last February or whenever.
Yeah.
And I emailed them and I was like, hey, I know I have to do another, like, I guess it's like a manifesto or whatever to get these press passes. So I'm going to resubmit all my stuff to you. And so I did. And they're like, yeah, we're afraid that we can't give you press passes this year. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, you never sent us your video. And I said, yeah, I did. And so I like showed them, I took a screenshot of like where I had sent them my video and where they had acknowledged that they'd received it. And so I was like, yeah, I definitely gave you my video. You should have it. And they go, oh, you're right. We got it. But we still can't give you a press pass. And I was like, okay, why? And they go, well, if you will, please check our newest, it's like our new press guidelines or something. And they added this whole new bit about harassing people.
We had an impact on the world.
Yeah. GMZ forced a convention to change their press guidelines.
And you weren't even harassing. You were asking them, I mean, admittedly, weird, fucked up, and bizarre questions.
Yeah.
But not harassment.
No, I think that was like, whenever I do a video, I always try to be very civil about it. I'll go up and be like, hey, would you like to answer some questions? Yeah, sure. And then I ask them like 2 or so normal questions, and then I'll end with a question that is very off kilter. Yeah. But afterward, I'm always like, hey, thank you very much. Just so you know, this is like a joke interview. I'm not some serious publication. This isn't to be used against you. And generally, people don't care.
Yeah.
And whenever somebody says they don't want to be on camera, I don't put them on camera. So it was really odd to me that I got harassment. Like, that was... And then Chris got it, too. That same convention that we went to Mobicon, Chris got kicked out because of that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. I hope I can keep doing this in the future, but now I need an outlet for it.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, we can, segue to things now that we never got to do.
I'm looking at the list. It's not the first one, but it's one of the first ideas we had. We wanted to do celebrity pets.
I know, and I could never...
Profiles on celebrity pets, so like on Blob from A Boy and His Blob, or Angelo from Final Fantasy VIII, because you're always like, oh, Angelina Jolie, or,
Yeah.
It was Johnny Depp, like a few months ago, with his dogs in Australia and stuff. Like, it's like as if this is real news. So we had the dog from Duck Hunt, Dog Meat from Fallout, Yoshi, Aggro from Shadow of the Colossus, Rush, Epona, Chocobo, Yogurt from Shining Force, Seaman.
Seaman.
It's like, I felt like we never figured out what we could do, but we both agreed, like, there's something brilliant we could do with this, but we never got around to it.
Yeah, and I think that that's just like one of those things where it's like that is another thing where sometimes I think that like I can't make up some of the stuff that happens in real life that is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole Johnny Depp thing where it's like he left his dogs in Australia and they might get put down because he won't come see them because he is on a movie. Like I can't even like imagine that scenario.
Yeah, if we made it up, no one would take it seriously.
Yeah, but then that kind of stuff happens and it's just like, well, that's
I think there was one where we did like our we did the Gumsies, and that
oh yeah.
I think I don't remember if that's what I said, but I think I did. There was because there's an idea in here that we never used, and it was like what video game character do you think will appear in GMZ is the most likely to appear in GMZ in the next year? And then it was which one do you think is the least likely to appear? And I put Bomberman. I said as soon as real people stop blowing up other people, maybe I'll be comfortable writing a joke about it. But we have here Dig Dug, guilty of murder in the first degree, and Bomberman accused of war crimes. And war crimes eventually, like, a story about Bomberman being a terrorist had potential, but while people were actually doing that, like,
yeah,
almost every day, like, no, I'm not writing this.
And it was the same, if I can partially segue and we can get back to the list in a minute. We had before it was announced that One More Castle was shutting down, because we only knew about that 30 days in advance or something.
Yeah.
We had a whole, like, year-long process about ending GMZ. And one of the things... Yeah.
We were always planning to end at August, September, October this year anyway.
Yeah, because it was going to be our, like, 2-year anniversary. And I remember at one point we had this idea that you were going to get kidnapped, mm-hmm. and that we were going to have a video of somebody, like you had a bag over your head and somebody shouting at you in a foreign language.
Yeah, I was going to have a couple of my friends do it in French.
Yeah, and then I remember sometime, it was right before Eric and I's site was ending anyway, I was like, I really hope that by the time we do that, there's like no kidnappings that week.
Because when like a few weeks after we thought of this, like they were just kidnapping and beheading journalists left and right.
Oh yeah, over in the Middle East, it was like every single day, and so
we're
it was
like, shit, we can't do this right now. This is not funny.
Yeah, and it was like, even though it was obviously a joke, it was still like, that's the sort of like, I don't even want to play that game right now.
No. Like I know we joke about having, no sense of decency or bad taste and whatnot, but that would have been in really bad taste.
Yeah, and it really sucks because I thought that bit was so funny.
Yeah, we were gonna I think we talked about anyway not tweeting for like a month, like pretending we'd gone into hiding or we'd been kidnapped, and we were gonna coincide it with like at noon tomorrow I'm going on vacation for 4 weeks, so that's what we were gonna do. Mm-hmm. Just I was gonna travel around with my family and stuff and be at my parents' cottage, so I won't tweet for a month. It'll be an interesting break or whatever, kind of like Bailey did or a few months ago. But also did they really get kidnapped? Like obviously no one would really think that, but then when we don't tweet either of us for a month.
Yeah, and I remember I said at one point that it'd be fun if we took one of our accounts, or maybe the GMZ account, and replaced it with something that was like unrelated, almost like an ARG, where it's like all of a sudden the GMZ account is now like an Asian airline service.
Yeah, or and clearly hacked or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and we tweeted in like all in like I'm so tired. I almost said hieroglyphics. I meant kanji. But yeah, and we tweeted in another language, and it was like this, like it was like GMZ has just been wiped off the map.
Yep.
But never got to do that, thanks to Eric.
We were going to. I don't know if I talked to you about it at the time, or I did only recently, but we could have like went into hiding or retired in the Grand Rayman Islands or something like that.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
going on with our personas that we've created, where we just screwed all our employees and grabbed all the money for ourselves.
Which, you know what I think was a good alternate ending to that was if you look in Eric's new story.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, where we grab all the stuff and then we take the escape pods, and it was so. I told Eric, I said after I read that, I actually felt legitimately guilty.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I know it's not me, but that's it says like Daniel is like it was like hacking through a wave of interns, and I was just like, like this idea that I would just like eat Oreos while people die in front of me, and I was just like, am I really that guy?
I loved it. Secretly, I'm hoping that we come back and save the day.
Oh yeah, that'd be so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, because deep down we both know that we are heroes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're the heroes of One More Castle.
Yeah,
But yeah, I totally love what Eric did with us, or is doing with us in the Castellan's notes.
that was so funny. And then there was other things that we wanted to do that aren't even like on the list.
Yep.
Like we talked at one point about, and this is when I first wanted to do like video stuff with GMZ, is I wanted to do something called GMZ TV, where it was almost like The Office, and it took place in the US GMZ offices, and I had like people that were lined up to do it. Like they were like, yeah, we'll do this, but none of them understood our series, which is pretentious to say, but nobody quite got what we were doing, at least among my friends, because none of them were, played a lot of old games like I did. So a lot of it was like, to them it was hard to explain to them what was going on.
Mm.
So I ended up doing that.
Didn't you also lose access to a bunch of the camera equipment for a while?
Yeah, and I kind of got it back, but like they destroyed the immediately after my junior year. They just they shut down our school's entire like video department, and now they still own all the equipment because they can't legally sell it, but it's just like locked in a closet now. So,
can they legally give it to you?
No, I tried to. They said that they can only legally give it away if it's broken, and if they sell something, it has to be through auction. Because you can't take, because otherwise it could be like unethical, like you're selling somebody something from the school at a price that's unfair or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that sucks.
And then I also wanted to do GMZ game reviews, which was going to be hosted by one of our interns. And I have like notes on it somewhere that I can't find right now. But it was supposed to be like, he was supposed to be just intensely awkward and didn't really know anything about games. And he's just like, this is Super Mario Brothers. Is in this game you go to the right and you jump, and it's enjoyable because sometimes you jump over things. And it was just supposed to be like this, like really just like he's garbling words, but that I didn't do simply because I'm not good at reviewing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crap. Forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
More stories we didn't do. I'm looking. Yeah, I tweeted that one. Leon Kennedy, secret necrophiliac.
Oh yeah, you said
a
your
coworker came in and said, what's this list? There's nothing.
Yeah.
Librarian stuff. Yeah. Lolo and Lala secret sex tape leaked. Ash Ketchum's animal abuse record.
I think the Lolo and Lala thing, even though we didn't do it, is my favorite premise.
Yeah.
Like that's just the idea of that's so funny to me.
You had asked on Twitter for someone to create kind of, what was it, an image for it?
Yeah, I wanted like a Rule 34 image of Lolo and Lala.
Yeah.
Which I guess doesn't apply because I can't find one.
I know, which is weird. You'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Do you remember that you were talking about reviewing games? Do you remember that guy who wanted us to review his like shmup that he made?
Yeah, I
A-
do.
And like I tried explaining to him like, okay, but you do realize we're a joke, right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no, no, it's fine. You can write a serious review about my game. I'm like, but like, I'm not sure like I can because oh, I hate shmups. But also like, I'm not gonna write a serious review about this indie game and put it in GMZ. And then I was like, well, maybe that's the joke. Like, just this random one time, there's a 100% serious piece in there that just doesn't fit. But then, like, he wanted us to buy his game.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give us like
A review copy.
yeah. And I was like, I don't particularly feel like reviewing your game, and I don't like the genre, and
Hmm.
I'd rather no.
Yeah,
He was all like, you should, yeah, yeah, review my game.
yeah, I told him I think my idea was that we should just say, yeah, we'll do a totally serious review and then not do one at all. Like, just actually play the game and then be like, do a totally non-serious review. Just
Yeah,
and absolutely like tear into him if it was really bad.
I kind of got the, I don't know, it looked kind of bad, but
Yeah, and I
I
don't
don't
think
like
I
shmups.
honestly don't think because I looked for it. I don't think he ever finished it.
It's possible.
Um, and then I'm gonna dedicate a little bit of a segment real quick to all the weird messages, like direct messages we get on Twitter.
Yeah,
Because like we are constantly like, I made it a habit for a while that anytime we got a message on Twitter, even if it was like one of those things, that was like, "Thanks for following me, man," or "I'm following you. You should follow me back," or "Check out this thing." I would respond to every single one of them.
yep.
And I remember some guy told me to check out like his rap album. It was the very first thing, and he says, "Thanks for following. Check out my video game raps." And I don't even think we followed this guy. And I was like,
I hadn't.
and I was like, oh, "That's cool. What kind of raps do you do? Breakfast raps? Do you make video game breakfast raps?" And he said, "Fajita wraps filled with steak, green peppers, and cheese." And I said, "I'm sold. I'll check it out."
Did you?
I did.
Was it terrible?
I honestly don't remember.
Oh, it was definitely not great then.
Yeah, and then there's another guy named RAB, and he was like, "Thanks for following. Hope my tweets make you happy." And I said, "I'm sorry, RAB, but true happiness can only be achieved through something as shallow as another's tweets, or something cannot be."
Yeah.
Yeah, cannot be achieved through something as shallow as another's tweets, only through human sacrifice.
Ah, good times.
I love getting these little messages because I used to be like just ignore them, and then
I got I was entertained by you interacting with these people anyway.
we had some dude who never replied to me, but he was a game developer in Nova Scotia, and I was actually kind of interested to see what his deal was,
Okay.
and I don't know, I kind of wanted to.
Who was he?
Dan Rodenizer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Uh, it's this reminds me of an article I mostly wrote but never finished. Is I tried to crap, what was the song? I tried to rewrite the lyrics to I forget.
Cecilia by
Yes,
Simon Garfunkel.
nope, there's a different one.
What?
Yeah, I tried to write a song using only the One More Castle spam messages.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it was
right.
it was a lot harder.
Because that was after we supposedly hired a spam bot in uh,
Yeah,
Castellan's notes or whatever.
yeah,
I don't know
and
how
yeah,
to
that's what
pronounce it.
gave me the idea. I was like, oh my god, I should use the spam bot messages to or comments to write a song. or a poem or something. See if I can make them rhyme. Like it would have been utter nonsense, but I never got around to finishing it. It's still in the drafts, I think, somewhere.
You know what was speaking of another thing that we never got a chance to do more of was you used to write poems. They were like limericks.
They were spoonerisms.
I feel like there was one, or was there not like a limerick one? I thought there was.
Maybe I just remember the spoonerisms.
Yeah, I wish I love those. There's those goofy little wordplay things. I thought those were really funny.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking at. There's an untitled document in the drive folder that just has Bosconian, Kicks, Sinistar, Robotron 2084. Nothing else written in it. I have no idea what it is.
I don't remember that at all. Did you write that?
Yeah, I did. I don't know what it was about, but I wrote it. There's also, what's this? Renee Zellweger and Pokemon prove no sexism in video games.
Did I write that?
No, I wrote that. I have no idea what it is.
This is the point where there are so many things we look back and we're like, who wrote that?
It's like, it was in relation to, Renee Zellweger appeared on the red carpet for something and everybody was commenting about how different her face was.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those, like, current event things where I go off on a rant. So I was like, yeah, how is it possible that this 45-year-old woman who hasn't been in like a movie since 2010 and took a red carpet hiatus, how is it possible that her face is different? And was it was something about Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha, and I was comparing. Yeah, that's what it was. I was going to use I think, I don't know, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are like old games. Like they're like,
Yeah, they're like the new versions of old games.
yeah. So I was going to use the sprites from the old versions and compare them to the new versions. And I was like, look at this. They look better 12 years later. What the fuck is going on? What kind of plastic surgery are these video game characters getting? This is ridiculous.
Oh, that would have been a really good article.
And it's like, I had pictures like, oh, because there were some, I think Silicon Era had an article about the changes. And I was looking at the changes and I was like, huh. I was doing this as a joke, but now this is kind of interesting because in all of them, like the female characters were thinner. Like there were some weird things that I was noticing that I was like, it was a weird instance where like I was making up a conspiracy and then slowly convincing myself of it.
Oh, I do that sometimes, and it's like it's always really weird. Like you said with the wrestling thing, like it was like you might accidentally kill another wrestler, and then it happens, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird to make a joke and then see it's actually true.
See, I'm looking at the pictures now, like, okay, the Roxanne character, like her legs are thinner. Well, that's kind of weird. Her arms are thinner. And the male character, what's this? Oh, he actually maybe looks slightly bigger. So it's the female character has to get skinnier, but it's okay for the male character to stay the same. Like, what is this bullshit? And I'm looking at that and I was like, no, like seriously, it's true. What the fuck? They made Elite Four Phoebe, like her skin is lighter in the new one than it was in the old game or something like that. I was like, okay, so now people of color have to look more white, and I never got around to finishing it.
I think that was a really funny also article that I'm just gonna touch on real quick was the Tomodachi Life one where we're talking about people of different colors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the one where like they weren't going to allow same-sex relationships in it because it's just supposed to be a fun and quirky game, and I was like,
Yeah.
And then I announced that Nintendo was going to remove other options as well.
Like being any race besides Asian.
Yeah, because I think I said like black people are fun, but they're not quirky, and white people are quirky, but they're not fun. And then I was like, Christians aren't fun or quirky, and Muslims are one but not the other as well, so they can't be in the game.
Right.
So yeah, I was eliminating like all kinds of, races, religions, cultures, or whatever for not being quirky or fun.
No.
Because it was a really bad justification for not allowing it.
Yeah.
Like, it made no sense. Like, we just want to release a fun, quirky game. What's wrong with that?
And I remember the fallout from that was way bigger than I initially thought.
Yeah.
Like, because I had caught wind of it, and I was like, oh, well, Nintendo's going to take some backlash, but it's Nintendo, so it'll probably not, like, be a huge deal. But then I went to Mobicon, and I did that video, and I asked that guy, I was like, hey, did you hear about the Tomodachi thing? He goes, yeah, actually, I read, like, several articles on it. And I was like, oh, wow, people really are upset about this. Like, way more than I had initially thought. Like, I thought it would just kind of go under the radar, like, nobody would notice. But people were pissed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I think that was the first time that, like, I really saw people get mad at Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I wanted to go to a convention and Skype you in.
That could have been fun.
Yeah, simply because you don't like conventions.
I've never been to one. They're just far. I got a wife and 2 kids and a full-time job. If I'm gonna drive far, visit someplace, like, it's not gonna be to go to a convention.
Yeah, and
I don't like people. They're filled with them.
I really wanted to go to a convention and just Skype you in and then have you berate people as I try to host the panel. But then I realized that nobody knew who I was, so that didn't work.
Yeah. Did we ever post this about the Bomb factory workers voting to unionize?
I don't think so.
Because that was going to be another one, a lengthy, like, multi-part story I was going to do. That Bowser Industries had labor troubles at the Bomb factory, and we got a leaked email. The laborers and trades Koopas of the Bomb factory were set to vote in favor of unionization at the next meeting. The factory, whose location is secret, has been the center of several scandals in the past year, with accusations of employing illegal immigrants, slave labor, as well as having to explain an employee death rate of 12%. When asked about the leak, PR rep, factory manager King Babam would only say that management plans to deal with the unionizing employees the same way other Bowser Industries branches always have. And then it mentions that another Bowser Industry unit or whatever, the employees tried to unionize. Half the sanitation workers of the municipality of Tycoon Town were found in a trash compactor. The following day, the remaining employees voted against unionizing. So it's going to have this, like, whole lengthy, like, labor battle between trades Koopas and, Bowser Industries or whatever. But yeah, I never finished the first story, so the other ones never came out. And this is the last time it was edited was July 15th, 2013.
Yeah, because that was
over 2 years ago.
Because that was like one of the first story ideas that we had.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is from before we even posted for the first time.
Yeah, and I honestly think that was like there was a year's time between when we came up with the idea of GMZ and when we actually posted our first issue.
Yeah, we could maybe finish up with this, because when I did the interview with you, it was in there, but I'm not exactly sure that not everybody saw it probably, or that they took you seriously. But GMZ came from me misreading a tweet that what's his name?
Brent.
Like, I know his name. I'm trying to think of his Twitter handle.
I think it's just isn't it just G1 Brent, or am I wrong?
Yeah, it's G1 Brent. Okay.
Yeah.
Smoke 108. Anyway, he said I think Francisco Velo, FJ Vecca, and Brent and maybe someone else tweeting about chiptunes and stuff, and he
It was
mentioned at
it was the
8-bit
four of us.
peoples. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was doing stuff for Micro Collective, which is a chiptune website that
Yep.
a guy named Sam runs, and so I was doing some stuff for them, and I had mentioned them on my Twitter, and then Brent said, I'm more of an 8-bit peoples kind of guy, which is another chiptune website, and then you said 8-bit peoples, what?
Yeah. Because that's at first when I first saw it, like obviously, like I read, I was like, did that say, oh, 8-bit peoples? So I replied something like, I'm more of an 8-bit peepholes kind of guy, or
Yeah,
8-bit peoples with peep holes.
yeah,
And so, yeah, the four of us started chatting, and then we decided, I think we started emailing each other, and it turned into, and I think we have some of the images, and I think you're planning on putting them in the post, right?
yes,
Yeah, so you'll see it below this, I guess, or above, who knows. But we're gonna have it was gonna be a Tumblr where we just post it's like screenshots from video games where the character is making a certain face or is in a certain position or pose, where we would like kind of superimpose this like peephole template so they would make it look like they were in a sexual or uncomfortable or unusual
yeah.
position. Like it would change how you viewed the screenshot. And that's what we were going to do at first.
And then what ended up happening was that we found a picture of one of those, and it was from Katawa Shoujo, and
Yep.
then I want to say you added a because it was my picture, and then you added a story to it.
Well, I started thinking about how of, like, did you know gaming and stuff with their posts? Like there was text with it. I was like, oh, well, that gives us, another element we can, explain. I don't know what it looks like or how what led up to us getting this image or whatever.
Right.
And but it was originally just images, and then images with some text.
And then, and then I remember at one point the thing that got me was that your text for that Katawa Shoujo image was from, I don't remember the name of the school in that game, but it was from the school newspaper.
Yes. Yeah.
And so then it was like you were a reporter, and you'd snap this shot of this happening.
Yeah. And at around that time, I was getting tired of the weekly series I had with Atari Poop. I felt limited. I had to come up with some ridiculous thing every week, but mostly kind of limit myself to Atari games. And I was kind of getting burned out from doing that every week. And I saw this as like, wait, we could pitch this to Eric at One More Castle and see if we can do this there.
Right.
And as time went on, Brent dropped out and Francisco dropped out, and we were left just the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was twice your age.
Yeah.
Like literally. Actually, at the time, I was probably a little more than twice your age.
I was
like 15, 16.
Yeah, like 15.
And I was like 32, 31. So I'm 34 now, and you're 18 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was more than double your age when we started this out. And I didn't even know. And like you probably didn't know exactly what age I was. You might have assumed I was older.
I assumed
I was married and had kids, so I was probably not
I
age.
assumed you were more like Chris's age now, where you're on like your mid to late 20s.
Yeah. Nope. And yeah, I was like, he's probably, early 20s, maybe late teens. Like he's first, second year university's done, kind of thing. Like, nope, still in high school.
Yeah, which was super funny because I don't even remember the point where the rest of you guys found out how young I was, because it was sometime after we started the series.
Yeah.
And it was, I want to say the first person who noticed was like Eric or Andrew, and they were like, I thought you were like 25.
I knew before, because I still remember one of the first like GMZ tagged emails I have is I'm asking you, like, who are you? Like, how old are you? Where are you from? Like, I was like, because I know you from Twitter, but I know nothing about you. And if we're gonna write this stuff together, I wanted to know a little bit more, like who you were or whatever. And you're like, said your name, said your age, and I was like, what?
That's yeah. That's so weird.
So after this, like, I told my wife, so anytime I was doing any, like, oh, can you help me out with Photoshop or whatever? She didn't never wanted to get credit because I rush. I was like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Actually, if it looks crappy, that's great. And like, she's a perfectionist. She's an artist, so she's like, do not tell people that I worked on this image or whatever because it's crap. And I was like, it looks amazing. Then I'd send it to you, and it's like, oh my god, who did that image? That's amazing. I was like, not my wife. But anyway, anytime I'd ask her for help, it's like, is this still the thing where you do the stupid stuff about video games with that teenager? Like, yep. This is the stupid thing I do with that teenager.
Yeah, and now your wife's on Twitter, so she can meet that stupid teenager for herself.
Yeah. She's not liking Twitter. She said, all these gamers are following me. I was like, mute them. She's like, I already have. Everyone? Well, no, not everyone.
I like that. Yeah, that like around the same time your wife and Eric's wife joined Twitter, and it was like they have our fan bases already.
Yeah, they'd heard so much about them, especially I think Eric's wife because of the podcast and everything.
Yeah,
yep.
and Eric's wife had met Hunter and Jason and Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there it is. GMZ is over now.
Are you gonna cry? Are you gonna get drunk tonight and just shed a tear in your beer?
I can't get drunk.
Well, you can. You can't legally get drunk.
Well, yeah. I don't like alcohol, honestly.
Don't let Sean Hannity find out teenagers are drinking.
Yeah. No,
Alcohol's gross. I've never been drunk in my life, so you're preaching to the choir here. Did I lose you?
No, sorry, I was here.
Okay.
I was looking at something real quick. No, I told a couple of my friends who are like the only two friends I have that I think consistently read our series.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, GMZ's over. And they were just like, why? Why would you do that?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's one thing that it's kind of a cool thing in a weird, sad, depressing way is that like with One More Castle closing, like just the last podcast that they had, like I always knew Eric liked Atari Poop. He was my editor and he told me and stuff, but like I had no idea like Hunter really liked Atari Poop, or there's a few people I knew like kind of liked GMZ, and same thing with your series with Queries and with Game Overkill. Like a lot of people are like, so what are you gonna do with like you're gonna keep doing it, right? Or like, are you gonna keep doing GMZ? Like a few people had figured out that we were very clearly leading up to stopping GMZ.
Yeah.
But it was kind of neat to see like, oh, that's the thing. Like you only find out. It's kind of like when someone dies and all the people that really liked the person talk about how much they like them, but like the person committed suicide because he was depressed and I have no friends. I have no like I contribute nothing to society or whatever, and there was like literally like hundreds of people who absolutely loved the person. Well, maybe there's not literally hundreds of people that liked GMZ, but there were a bunch, and it was fun.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things like they don't really come out and tell you how much they like you until you're done.
Yep.
And it's really crazy that stuff like that happens. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. It's interesting to not have to do to have a schedule for once.
Yeah. Well, yeah. With Game Overkill, I had next to no schedule. It was supposed to be once a month, and it was generally that, and it was nice because it was tough. It's tough. Even if it was every 2 weeks, I felt like I'd take 1 week off. And then it was like, oh my God, like I have a week left. And then you realize it's not a week, it's actually 5 days because everything has to be done 2 days in advance. So I have 5 days to finish this. And having a wife, two kids, a full-time job meant that I used part of my lunch hour every day to work on this, and
Yeah.
then like at night, kids are in bed by 8, so I've got about 4 hours to spend time with my wife, play some video games if I want to, read if I want to, hang out with friends if I want to, and write a couple of GMZ articles.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, you're doing more than one series, so you have to do Game Overkill and GMZ.
Yep.
And then for a while, it was the same schedule with me. I had once a month was queries and GMZ, and it was like,
Eeh.
yeah,
And like, no offense to GMZ, and I'm assuming it was the same way for you. Were you enjoying queries more than GMZ in the end?
um, yeah,
Yeah, I was enjoying Game Overkill more than GMZ in the end because, well, for one thing, it was different.
yeah, and
I've
it
been
was
doing this almost 2 years, every
right,
2 weeks. It's it's a lot.
yeah, and it was also like at that point, it's something that's like it takes a whole lot of work for something that is like a 2 second laugh,
Yep.
and it's not that it's not
Oh,
good, but
like,
it's
oh my God, there's in one of the posts, I think it was the one where like I found secret documents that showed like Nintendo paid Sega to make terrible
yeah,
Sonic games. Like I photoshopped a document where I added text in Japanese. So I wrote stuff in English and then translated it. I mean, it was Google Translate, but still into Japanese, and then tried to match the font and then Photoshop it onto the document. So if anyone knows Japanese, they could potentially go back to that post and read some jokes that no one has seen before because I
yeah,
put them in Japanese. The same thing like that like that header image in every one. There's one I put in Braille. No one's
hmm
ever talked to me about what it was that I put in Braille.
yeah, and that's one of the things that I think that is at least like if we're ending GMZ now, that will survive is that there are so many things I think that we wrote that people still haven't found yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I remember I really did like I really worked on those author names in the very
Yep.
beginning. Uh so yeah, but yeah, I think that towards the end it was like you just kind of get burnt out on it and there's only so much you can do with a parody format.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it was fun.
But it's over.
Yeah.
I will miss working with you though.
We're not wait, we're not working together anymore?
Are we?
I I mean, I was told that we were.
By who? By whom?
I don't know. We'll discuss
No.
later. No,
Yep.
no, it's gonna suck not working with you. I wish, like I said, I wish we'd collaborated, like really collaborated more this last year, but we were both so busy.
It's like I've said a few times, if only I was like, what, 16 years or 17 years younger,
Yeah.
and we lived a few thousand miles or almost double that kilometers closer.
Mhm.
Because I would have loved to do more video stuff, but I'm here in Canada alone with one camera and a couple kids, whereas you had all this cool equipment.
Yeah.
We could have been shooting stuff every weekend.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's really hard to end this because it's like I know that as soon as I hit like hang up, like it's done.
Want me to do it? I'll be the adult.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll sign off now.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, this is the last GMZ related thing you will see. There are going to be some other things that are on this post. I have two more videos that I never uploaded. One was from just this most recent SGC that was like there's like a week ago.
Week ago, yeah.
Yeah. And then one that was, I went to the arcade convention in 2014, which is last summer. And then, of course, we're going to have our list of like ideas that we never got to. And I think I'm going to open up our Google Drive folder, so if you just want to look in there, have fun with that. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Yeah, got nothing else to.
All right, well, goodbye, everyone. We'll always be there in your hearts.
Sure. In the cockles of their hearts.
The cockles?
Yeah, I don't know. It's from a Dennis Miller song.
Okay.
Dennis Leary, not Dennis Miller. Never mind.
Dennis Leary.
Yeah, asshole.
Dennis Leary's not a musician. Dennis Leary's a comedian.
Yeah, but he has a song.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You're gonna have to add the video to asshole to the end of our post
I can do that.
because we were assholes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.